How you doing, my man?
Hey, brother, I'm here, Waco, Texas. It's hot and sunny.
It's sunny but not hot here. It's
Oh,
probably I think the high today is 39.
holy shit. I think, 87 here, man.
I will trade you right now.
Bring it.
Anyway, we're here to discuss permanent waves. And I wanted to do it because of the transition between hemispheres, 26 minutes tracks, on 2112 hemispheres, long tracks on farewell, and then led to this, where they shortened songs but kept the progressive tempos and changes to become more heard. And you can see that this album was a perfect lead to moving pictures. And so I think sometimes it's overlooked because it came beforehand.
Well, I'm not very versed in either one of those. I think I've listened to Moving Pictures a couple times, but some of my notes said that this is Rush learning restraint while still sounding huge.
Yeah. And I think that's a very good point
Yeah.
because, you listen to Spirit of Radio, the opening track, and nothing they had done previously sounded like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, funky tune.
Yeah. And I love the message. It's saying that, they were looking back at radio when they were growing up, when it wasn't just the same sets over and over, like what we got now, where, at least in Ohio, every rock radio station is owned by iHeartRadio.
Wow, really?
So it's just commercialized bullshit. Saying
Yeah.
if you're on like a radio station at 2 o'clock, listen to it next day at 2 o'clock, it's the same fucking track.
That's really disappointing, disheartening. As a musician, it really is.
So, he's saying about the pros of how it used to be when DJs made the call. Now it's just all run by money. So there's no say in what's being played.
Yeah, that's terrible. It's a
So that,
different time. That was a different time. I mean, that was what this album came out what 80,
yeah,
and I mean, that was a lifetime ago, man. And yeah, it's just, and I'm sure they were experiencing, in part the same type of frustration that we do today. I mean, everything sounds the fucking same, and everything is commercialized, and it's just stagnant, man.
sure. Now, in Ohio, for example, WMMS, basically at one time was nationwide the biggest radio station. And they put out new stuff. Rush started there. They did a concert in Cleveland that broke them in the States because they took so long for them to break in Canada. They broke out here before there.
I always
Look,
forget they're
and
Canadian.
look how long it took them to get in the music hall in Canada. That's just
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
I mean, a three-piece band that sounds like fucking five.
I mean, that's a testament to abilities, man. A lot, some of the greatest bands in the world, especially in rock, have only been three piece. So
Yeah, Triumph. That's another band from there that didn't get acknowledged till they came to the States.
wow,
It's crazy.
yeah,
But I think we were more met, got into metal way ahead because the States took on all the English invasion long before Canada did. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So we had a head start.
yeah. Never really thought about that. That Canada's behind. I mean, we're kind of in the same time zones, all across the states, and it's just kind of weird. I mean, even now to think that um, that at one time it would take, it's like, it's no different than like clothing style and fashion and shit like that, moving across the states. Here in Texas, us podunks, we get some stuff, 2 or 3 years after something pops off, and by the time we get it, it's old. So I guess that does kind of work for music too, but I've never really thought of it like that.
Like, do you have independent radio there still?
I don't know. I haven't turned on the radio in years, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's been, like you're talking about, it got to a point probably about 2006 or 2007 that I started noticing is like every 15 minutes they were playing the same damn shit, you know? And, you know, years ago, late 90s, whatever, when I was working for my dad sitting on a tractor, I'd listen to stuff out of either Dallas, Texas or Austin or Bryan College Station and good hard rock, heavy metal. And you would not hear the same song within 12 hours. And now all it is an hour apart, you know, sometimes. And it's really frustrating.
When I was a kid, you'd phone in to DJ and say, "Hey, can you play this song?" And they put it in the rotation.
Yeah, that's frustrating. That yeah, I'm sure it's vetted pretty hard too, you know, and the stipulations that they have. I don't know the workings, inner workings of it, whatever, but I'm sure there's a lot of stuff they won't play anymore, you know, just on principle.
Yeah, it's just a shame it's come to that, that
Yeah.
money's controlling it and not the quality of music.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing that the underground is still thriving and kicking ass, and there's still a lot of good music coming out, you know, that's bypassing all that shit. You just got to know where to look. I guess it's a lot like pharmaceutical drugs versus street drugs.
Sure.
You know, you got, you know, and I don't condone either, but I'm just saying, you know, it's if you know where to look, you know where to have fun. So, I mean, that's all there is to that.
And we were talking about the beginning of the song, that D chord. Isn't it amazing how that's played?
It's well, I mean, it's iconic. You know, it's no different. It's probably pretty easy to play, and it's just probably a drone. I don't know. Like I said, I have to go back and look, but it's no different than Michael Anthony chugging on "Running with the Devil" with that open note the
Oh yeah.
whole time. You know, and it's just as iconic as that for sure. Anytime you hear it, you know what it is.
And that move to the reggae feel was cool too.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. There's that prog working for you.
Then you come into Free Will, which I think is so well written because it talks about fate versus faith, you know, and the challenge between the two. Because he was atheist at that point, and he was struggling with religion or his identity or where it all fit together. And you know, to say you can choose a ready guide in some celestial voice. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. I thought that was so not only clever but intelligent
Yeah,
because you
it's
still have made a
crazy.
choice. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and as a former atheist myself, you know, without touching on that, sometimes you do have to ask the right questions within to get the answers that you seek, and it's kind of a funny thing. Yeah, it's I I don't know. That's a pretty profound lyric.
Because like 2112 was based upon the writings of Ayn Rand, and that was kind of like his idea, his philosophy on life was her views on philosophy.
Hmm.
And she
Interesting.
wrote in the 1930s. I think
Wow.
like her biggest book was Fountainhead. I think that was in 36.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely check her out. Very interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think of the song musically?
Well, having heard it for many, many, many years, it's definitely chamfered the edges for me, whatever. So anytime I hear it, um, it doesn't hit me as hard as obviously it used to. But I mean, it's still a very catchy tune, and it's very popular, very well written. I mean, everything on this album is super well written. It's just it's a weird album, and it's almost not long enough. I almost wanted more at the end, but yeah, it was a good one. I think they chose a good start for that with the first out or the first track, and then going right into this one. I think it set a good mood for it.
And then we come into Jacob's Ladder, which I think is the most brilliant written track on the album lyrically because it takes the story of Jacob's Ladder and turns it into a visionary view instead of, like a worded view of how do I want to say like instead of like the revelation being represented in words, it's by clouds and the changing of them into a storm or what have you.
Right. Yeah,
And
it
so,
says it was actually inspired by a storm that the band watched roll in. I don't know if that's true or not, But I mean, all you have to do is look out your window sometime for inspiration. So
And the lead in that tune is just, man, just
yeah,
killer.
yeah, it was good, man.
I think lyrically is it's brilliant, but it's also great musically because of the way they were they gave you the vision of the storm, and that lead just, oh my goodness. It reminded me of what Gilmore does. It
Yeah,
wasn't flashy,
yeah,
but the feeling and emotion was all there.
intentional. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely intentional instead of um, uh, what's the word? Almost psychotic. Yeah. No, it says lyrically, it moves from observation to awe, man dwarfed by nature. It says where the old Rush still lives, moody, epic, and unconcerned with the radio.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that piece, you know, it, in earlier days would have been 20 minutes long.
Wow.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Um,
But let me ask you though, do you think that a 20-minute opus such as, would have been necessary?
yeah, I think lyrically it could have extended more. The story could have gotten bigger, kind of like when we're gonna get to natural science. That's one I think was shortened just because, they had the idea that we want to change the philosophy. I think that song as well would have been 20 minutes, because it talks about, us evolving with the nature around us, not only as people, but as nature does.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something Neil could have taken for a long ride. I think lyrically.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I mean, I there's a lot of songs I like that are long. Our buddy Cody, he's very well known for writing long songs. Um, Sometimes you have to wonder, though. I'm not talking about Cody stuff, but like Rush and some of these other cats that write these real long ones. Would it hit as hard if it was?
Well, I think they would have made it that way because you listen to tracks like Hemispheres or
Yeah.
2112 or um what was the song on Crest? It was The Fountain of Lament. That's a whole side. They were doing it well and doing it good for a long time. And it's funny, I don't know if you know the story of 2112.
No, I don't.
After Crest came out, the label said, look, these long songs, it's not gonna cut it. We're gonna dump you if you do it again. And they were like, fuck it, we're gonna do the best opus we can do. And they said, fuck you, and did 26-minute long 2112.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what broke them. That got them all across America, at that point. Because
Yeah.
they wasn't a big act at that time. Is
That's
it yours
crazy.
high?
Yeah,
And
that's crazy that they've been. I mean, I understand why. For they're trying to sell the product, and I guess the guys at the top really don't care about talent or feel. So
well, that was, I appreciate a band having the balls to say, fuck
yeah.
you, I'm gonna
Oh yeah.
do
Yeah. Absolutely.
this is what we are. And if you don't like
Hmm.
it, we don't want to be a part of you anyway.
Yeah.
Because they were with Mercury then, I believe. So, but then we come to side two, which opens up with Entre Nous, which means between us. And
Interesting.
it basically it's a very unusual track for Rush because it has to do with something personal between two people. It has to do with a relationship. When you're in a relationship, you may love someone, but we all don't share everything with even our significant others.
Yeah.
About
Oh
ourselves. We have things we hide, and that's what this is based upon. You
yeah.
know, um, we need to realize the spaces in between, leave room for you and I to grow. You know,
Yeah.
that
Absolutely. And that's powerful. That's a really powerful thing to write about.
and You know, just stylistically, that reminds me kind of memories like or something like that off of 2112, but they really never dealt with stuff like that very often. You know, that's why I think the next song, Different Strengths, got on because Geddy wrote that, and that's his style. That's the way he writes, about personal and relationships and stuff like that, and they tie very well with each other. But
Yeah, it seems like one kind of juxtaposes the other.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
think that was a smart idea to start the other side with that to get separated.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's still weird, and I have to bring up since I'm just now getting into vinyl and records, that in the modern world, as a listener, but even more so as a songwriter and musician, having to flip having to flip something over and
Hmm.
start fresh on the other side is a very, man, I hate to say it, I'm 44 years old, dude, a very new concept for me. And it has, not only has it changed the way that I listen, because you and I are both a front to back listener for albums. I mean,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not a shuffle guy at all. I can't stand shuffle. If I'm going to put on an album, I want to listen to the entire thing. But not only as a listener, but having to flip that over to start something new, it has changed the dynamic in my writing, dude. Like you have no concept of. It's an amazing thing to find.
And at back then it gave a great opportunity if you wanted to like just do a change up or something, or some bands put like a throwaway track as the last track on side one, and then so the first song on side two hit harder. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I mean, that's a really good approach, is in 50 years ago, people had a lot better attention spans. Now, I don't know how that would even work. I know there obviously is a population of people that do appreciate vinyl and everything like that, but furthermore, how they appreciate the way that songs hit and the dynamics, you know, if there's not a pause in between, it's really hard to appreciate it. And that's coming from somebody that never did that before, a couple months ago.
And it's hard to describe the different feel of vinyl between digital,
Very much.
but it's very noticeable. And I think it's a separation that's noticeable.
Yeah.
The highs and the lows are more separated on vinyl to me
Yeah.
when I hear it.
Yeah. It's awesome. These were two good tracks I mean, now I want to go buy the vinyl so I can just kind of see how it works, whatever. Because, yeah, you're right. The dynamic is not there, listening to it on Apple Music or whatever the heck I was listening to it on.
And how did you like the lead on Different Strings?
Oh, dude, all of their shit's killer. There's not a weak spot on this album.
Yeah, they're musically they were just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Getty's bass playing is so underrated.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is. It is. It was hard hitting in this one. That's what I can't remember if we were recording, but I mean, it was the it was a bass fronted, like I said, not bass heavy necessarily, but bass fronted, and bass is
Mhm.
kind of a lead and a driving force in it, without just thumping all the time.
And to think he was singing the vocals, playing the bass, doing the Taurus pedals, and synthesizer, that's insane. All at
It,
once.
It's I mean, yeah, God bless people for that. My attention span, I'm very multi ambidextrous type situation all over the place, but like I'm starting to learn how to sing and play at the same time, and I've got such a new appreciation for all kind I'm dabbling into different music too, not just metal, but I'm having such a good appreciation for some of these people that 50, 60 years ago they were doing this in a capacity that I can't fathom now. And yeah, it's always, especially for like a three piece, three pieces, it would be hard for me to be in a three-piece band.
They're actually bringing a keyboardist on this tour, I guess.
Oh, really?
But to me, and we discussed this before, it's not Rush anymore to me.
I agree. I agree. And there's obviously, I'm a Pantera guy. It's not Pantera. It's a tribute.
Nothing against the new drummer, but I can name maybe five drummers that were in the same level as Neil. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's not one of
Yeah.
them. And I think they're not going to sound the same.
Yeah. It's at
Even
some
though
point
they're
though. Go
they're
ahead.
making her do the exact fills and everything,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to matter.
At some point though, we're all leaving this place, man, and some of our favorite folks are going to go too, and that's going to leave a lot of things incomplete. And what's the other option? At least they're still, kind of having fun and hopefully making some money with it. So it's I can
Yeah,
see.
they're making money. The cheapest seat here is $300.
Holy moly, yeah, Mother of God, that's
That's
probably not bad.
no, that's horrible.
I mean, I went and saw Sammy Hagar with Satriani and Michael Anthony and Bonham on drums, and I think our tickets were like 350 each,
Ooh,
and yeah. So I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not trivializing it. That's a lot of damn money. That's a lot of damn money, but it's you're still seeing some royalty. You know,
oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I would probably pay to go see Rush 300. You know, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, let's get to the last track. We're down 10 minutes.
Sorry.
That's my fault. Natural Science, which is one of the best tracks on the album.
Yeah.
Lyrically, it just deals with how everything in nature affects everything with us and what we do to the earth, how it changes nature.
It's
It's
a
all
it's
a cycle.
it's a real deal. I mean, a lot of people write about that. And it's usually a closer for an album where people write that.
Yeah, and while I love how he does it, relating to, you know, circles. It's basically like a reference to the circle of life.
Yeah.
Was that the Lion King or where the hell it was? But
Yeah.
but I think it's very true, and I think a lot of people don't understand how much we affect what's going on with nature. You know, we're all connected.
It's yeah, it was a good closer. It did end way too abrupt for me. Um that's my only complaint about this album. The song ended too abrupt and it just left me wanting more. I don't know, and it seemed like about 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the song, like even it changed into something else,
Hmm.
and maybe that was why, is because it was real abrupt, and then it ended. So naturally, I think just I was left wanting more.
And I think it happened like these songs were done the way they were because this is their first time trying to do shorten what they're doing, but yet be progressive. So
Yeah.
it's new territory.
Yeah, and that is hard to do as someone who writes 7, 8 minute songs too. I'm learning to be robust with my sound and my message without being overbearing and creating ear fatigue. This is a real thing as a listener, but also as a musician, playing the same thing over and over and over again not will not always necessarily drive a point home. So
And I'm sure you heard moving pictures. So you can tell how much this album influenced that sound.
well, this, like I told you prior to us recording, man. I'm not a big Rush fan, and I haven't heard like their entire catalog, but I did like this set of songs more than all the stuff I've heard in the past. I don't know why, and that was a good recommendation too. Not that any of their other stuff's bad, but this is just it's like, especially after the first two tracks, what I've been used to hearing on the radio. Everything else is so new to me, which is cool. This is 50 years ago almost, and it was all new to me, and it gave me kind of a new perspective on Rush, which I like. I like, being 44 years old, being a metalhead, and still discovering stuff about bands from 50 years ago.
Like when I hear like what you created um with the last one, I invite you to listen to Hemispheres because the way you went through progressions and stuff is very similar to that song.
Interesting.
It made me think of it right away because,
Huh.
um, yeah, it's just almost eerie. You'll sit when you hear
Oh, I don't want to shit.
it.
Well, what do you give this album, man? We forgot to do it on Type O.
I give it a 9 out of 10, only because I'm not a big fan of different strings. It's to me, it's not very rushy, if it's such a thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, they've definitely got a signature sound. I'll echo you on that. I'm gonna give it a 9 only because it which is weird. I'm contradicting myself. I feel like only because it was too short, not because of the length of it, but because
Mm.
the way it ended. It was just kind of abrupt for me, left me wanting more. Um, and I felt like I almost kind of had to start getting into a rhythm, and once I got into that rhythm, it was over. So other than that, yeah, it was a really good album, man, and I'm glad you suggested it to me.
Yeah, and once you get into stuff that came afterwards, you'll see they started to perfect it,
Yeah.
and but I
Well,
think it
I
was a
mean,
hard transition going from everything being at least 6 minutes long to 20 some to come down to like this probably was a very hard transition.
oh, I'm sure it was, and obviously, as somebody who does the same thing, being able to do that is it kind of retrains your brain. And bravo on them for actually kind of fitting it all within this shortened mold that they were getting in.
This makes me think of 90125 by Yes when they made a point to do the same thing, because most of their songs are at least 8 minutes or
Yeah,
whatever.
no, I've never listened to it, but I mean, it is a good practice. It is a good practice to write, and I'm learning this firsthand how you you cut the fat off of stuff instead of just serving the entire ribeye. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
But yeah, it's a great album. And thank you for reviewing it with me.
Thank you, brother, for having me.